Alrighty, everybody, welcome back into this new More Weather Forecast video. My name is Becca Moore, and I'm back here in the weather studio for our first video since last week and last weekend. So about 3 or 4 days ago, we were in Chicago and Holland, Michigan to cover lake effect snow and blizzard snow in Chicago. So in Chicago, we covered the blizzard for a couple of hours, then it kind of petered out. And then into Holland, Michigan, we had strong winds with lake effect, crazy recipe for crazy conditions, and we got that all on video. And you can watch all of that, go over to Twitter, or just go to the recap that I posted last video about 2 days ago now over on my channel, so you can go to that. But the weather continues to go on, and we got another storm to track, so let's get right into it. Looking at tomorrow, we are going to have this system coming in to the northwest, but our eyes focus here into the central United States, where there's going to be some snow showers, a couple flurries Thursday morning around St. Louis and Chicago, and then that lake effect starts getting going over into Watertown, Buffalo, Hamburg area, over into Erie, Pennsylvania as well. Then this is the start of a pretty weak system for the south, at least. Could get a little bit stronger into the northeast, but pretty weak system overall. And this is the start of it with some freezing drizzle around tomorrow there in Memphis and moving into Nashville as we go into Thursday afternoon and into Thursday night. Now, shifting on over to Friday, all of that energy moves here over to the east, and we are going to be dealing with snow showers from Pittsburgh up through Buffalo, Rochester, Watertown, and that heavier snow centered around New York City, northern New Jersey there to the west of Boston. Some rain there in southern New Jersey, still could get some accumulation. Washington, D.C., you're probably going to be missing out on this one. But this could be maybe a decent 4 inches for the New York City, and we'll get to that here in a second. And then that system, again, is coming in to the northwest here as well. Now, here's your snow totals for the Ohio Valley here. And in Chicago, we're talking about probably 3 to 6 inches of snow. I'd say 4 inches is a good bet there. In Chicagoland, St. Louis over towards Bowling Green and Lexington, a dusting to an inch, 1 to 2 inches into eastern Kentucky, and I think we could get 2 to 3, maybe up to 4 to 5 inches in some isolated spots. But as you go into the mountainous regions of West Virginia, southern Pennsylvania, and extreme western Maryland, we could get that band of 3 to 6 inches. Washington, D.C., we're talking about probably a dusting, and then we'll get to the northeast. We'll get to you guys in NYC, but up here in Buffalo, we could be talking about another foot of snow, and then up towards Watertown, another maybe a foot, and then maybe 2 feet as well. So we're going to have to watch that. More lake effect snow bands coming into play as we go into late this week and into this weekend. And then another lake effect snow band is going to come into play here into Indiana. So we're talking about Gary, Indiana, Michigan City, Indiana, because the winds are going to be going like this, streaming down south, and that means we're going to have that lake effect snow. We could also see that up towards Holland, maybe another 3 to 6 inches on what you've already had. Just been a crazy event, crazy last 2 weeks there in Holland, Michigan, again in Chicago around 3 to 6 inches. Now, our snow totals in the northeast, of course, we're looking at a different region here. Talking 3 to 6 inches, a good 3 to 6 inches from NYC to Philadelphia. The other day, you guys broke your 1-inch drought. Really happy for you guys, because it was just sad watching that, having a 1-inch drought for, I think, 701 days, I think was the final amount there of days without an inch of snow. I know I would go crazy if that happened here. Around 2 to 3 inches there in Boston, Albany, Syracuse, Binghamton, and then, of course, Watertown and Buffalo getting another foot to maybe 2 feet there. In Watertown, all of Pennsylvania, you're generally dealing with 2 to 3 inches with maybe some isolated spots over into the eastern part of the state, again around 3 to 6. Again, there's that heavier band into West Virginia, Cleveland, 3 to 6, and again, Buffalo, probably another foot of snow. Now, here's our early week storm. Now that we're done with that weaker system, except for that lake effect that we're going to be having, here's our early week storm. This is for Tuesday. This is what the models are looking like right now. Again, this will change, but it does look like we are going to have another system coming in the central United States. Gulf moisture streaming up Our Arctic blast, though, is going to be out of the way, and we're going to have a ridge or area of warmer than average air build up, and that means we're probably not going to see snow in St. Louis, but could we see ice problems from St. Louis through Chicago, Springfield, Illinois, maybe up towards Indianapolis and Detroit? That's very possible, so we got to monitor the snow, maybe not so much for the snow, but more for the ice. So we don't know if this is going to be a bona fide ice storm yet, but we got to watch it. So I'll have more updates here in the coming days on that. Make sure you go follow me on X for the latest model runs. And then, of course, we will have snow where we do have the below freezing temperatures up towards Green Bay, Grand Rapids, Michigan. But again, this will be a storm to watch. All rain to the south, though. And why is that going to be not a big snowstorm for a lot of people where you would think it'd be a snowstorm at this time of the year? It's because the 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook is off the charts, way above average, especially in the Midwest and Eastern United States. But the whole United States, next 6 to 10 days, is going to be above average, and that's really big because last map I showed you, we were talking about that Arctic blast last week, and this was pretty much the same map, except the colors were over here. The colors were blue. Now it's totally flip-flopped on us, and we are going to be probably warmer than average for the rest of January, so get ready for that. We're going to warm up, and that snow that you have on the ground, maybe up here into the Midwest and the South, that's going to quickly melt as we get temperatures rising above 30, rising above freezing mark as we go into later this week and into early next week. That about wraps up this More Weather Forecast video. Make sure you subscribe. Go follow me on X. Again, that system coming through the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. Going to drop some decent snow for people. Lake effect snow bands, again, cranking up for Watertown and Buffalo. And that early week storm, ice, could be a problem. As always, stay prepared out there, and I will see you soon with more weather.